Welcome back to Money Monday. If you looked at the news this week and thought, wait, is the economy getting better or worse? You are not losing your mind. Both things are true at the same time, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly which headlines matter for your bank account and which ones are just noise. I'm also going to show you 3 dates circled on my calendar between now and August 1st, because at least one of them could actually put money back in your pocket. Stick around. I will tell you which one. Let's start with the headline that is driving gas prices right now. Late last month, the US and Iran signed an agreement to end their conflict and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That lasted about 3 weeks. Fighting has restarted, the US has carried out strikes for 7 straight nights, and Iran has hit back at tankers and at US allies in the region, including Qatar and Kuwait. Iran is calling the Strait of Hormuz an unbreakable red line, which matters because a huge share of the world's oil moves through there. Oil prices spiked as much as 9% in a single day on the news, with the U.S. benchmark pushing back above $78 a barrel, and the national average for a gallon of gas has climbed from about $3.86 to just under $4 in the last week alone, according to AAA. If you are budgeting around $3.50 or $3.75 a gallon right now, it is time to nudge that number up. Here's where it gets confusing. The most recent inflation report for June actually came in good. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says overall prices fell 0.4% for the month, and the yearly inflation rate dropped to 3.5%. That is the biggest one-month improvement since April of 2020. Energy prices were a big part of that drop. The catch is that report covers June before this new round of fighting pushed gas prices back up. The July numbers, which will capture this week's spike, do not come out until August 12th, so the good news inflation report you are hearing about is already a little out of date. Jobs are the other piece of bad news hiding behind the good news. June's jobs report showed the economy added just 57,000 jobs, about half of what economists expected, and April and May got revised down by a combined 74,000. Unemployment sits at 4.2%, and the share of people working or looking for work actually shrank. That is not collapse territory, but it is a slowdown, and it matters because a weaker job market gives you less leverage to negotiate a raise or land a new position if you need one. Now let's talk about debt, because this is where I want you paying close attention. Total household debt in this country hit an all-time high of $18.19 trillion in the first quarter of this year. Credit card balances alone sit around $1.25 trillion. Here is the part that gets misreported constantly. There are 2 different ways to measure who is falling behind. The share of balances that are 30 days late actually improved. It is down to 2.92%, the 7th straight quarterly improvement. But the share of balances that are 90 or more days late, meaning genuinely delinquent, hit 13.12%, the highest in 15 years. Both numbers are true. What it tells us is that most people are managing fine, but the people who are struggling badly, with average credit card interest rates over 20%. If that is you, this is the year to prioritize that balance over almost anything else. Okay, here are your 3 dates. First, July 24th, this Friday. Back in February, the Supreme Court ruled that a big chunk of the tariffs put in place last year were unconstitutional. Within hours, a different 10% tariff was imposed under a separate law, and that one automatically expires after 150 days, which is July 24th. Congress has not voted to extend it. There is a chance a replacement tariff gets put in place before or right after that date, but if nothing replaces it, the average tariff rate on goods coming into this country could drop by roughly half. That is the one that could actually save you money. If you have been holding off on a big purchase like an appliance or electronics, it might be worth waiting to see what happens after the 24th. Second date, July 29th. That is the Federal Reserve's next meeting. Under new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, the tone has gotten more hawkish. And with oil prices climbing again because of Iran, traders are now pricing in real odds of a rate hike, not a cut. That would raise the cost of carrying credit card debt and could push mortgage rates higher too. 30-year mortgage rates are already at 6.5%, the highest in almost a year. Third date, September 30th. That is the next government funding deadline, and lawmakers in both parties are already bracing for another shutdown fight heading into the midterms. We have had 3 shutdowns in the last year alone, and a prolonged one can delay paychecks for federal workers and contractors and slow down things like small business loans. That one is further out, so I will keep you posted as it gets closer instead of piling it on today. So what do you actually do with all of this? It depends on where you are financially. So let's break it down. If your household income is under $50,000 a year, your job this month is defense. Build even a $500 buffer before the end of the month. Gas and grocery prices could move in either direction depending on how the Iran situation and the tariff deadline shake out, and you want a cushion, not a credit card, absorbing that shock. And do not put anything new on a card you are not paying off in full. Delinquencies are at a 15-year high, and I do not want you becoming part of that statistic. If you are in the $50,000 to $100,000 range, your priority is your interest rate exposure. If you are carrying a credit card balance, attack it this month before the Fed meets on the 29th. If rates go up instead of down, that debt gets more expensive, not less. And if you have been eyeing a big purchase on something that is currently tariffed, it might be worth waiting until after July 24th to see where pricing lands. If your household income is above $100,000, this is a month to stay steady, not to panic sell anything because of oil headlines. Airline and travel stocks took a hit this week on the Iran news. Energy stocks went up. That is normal sector rotation during a geopolitical shock, not a signal to overhaul your whole strategy. What is worth doing is checking where you are parking your cash. With rates still elevated and mortgage costs near a 1-year high, make sure idle cash is actually earning something while you wait to see how the Fed decision and the tariff situation play out. And if you are still holding off on refinancing or a big loan decision, the next 2 weeks will give you a much clearer picture than the last 2 did. Across every income level, the theme this week is the same. The economy is not falling apart, and it is not fully healed either. It is sitting in the middle, and the next 2 weeks have 3 specific dates that will tell us which direction it leans. Mark them down, and I will see you back here to break down what actually happened. Until next time, I've been Kevin with Money Tree and Me, providing better security and ensuring better lives. Make it a great day.